Alright, so rates and ratios seems to be where we need the most help, so this is probably going to be the longest of the videos. I'm actually going to go through your study guide questions the way that I would do them and offer a few alternatives as well for most of them. So the first question is about Miss McFadden and how fast she can run. It asks to express a ratio in miles per minute and minutes per mile. And a reminder that a rate is just a ratio that looks like it's in fraction form. So when it says miles per minute, we have to put the miles on the top and the minutes on the bottom. The per is what tells us that. When it says per minute, we know that that has to go on the bottom. So Ms. McFadden can run 5 miles, and she takes 50 minutes to run 5 miles. And then when we express the rate the other way around with minutes on top and miles on the bottom, nothing changes except for the order we put the numbers. So that means that in 50 minutes, Miss McFadden can run 5 miles. So those are her rates, and we haven't done anything to them yet, but we will. My rates, on the other hand, I can go 13 miles, and it takes me about 2 hours and 23 minutes to do this. But I do ask for the rate in miles per minute, so I'm going to do a little conversion here, 2 hours and 23 minutes. I know that every hour has 60 minutes in it, so that would be 120 plus 23 minutes. So that's about 143 minutes. So I can go 13 miles in 143 minutes. Now I'm going to try to erase all of that. Nailed it. Oh, I'm still erasing. 13 miles in 143 minutes. And same thing, we can flip-flop mine to give a rate of 143 minutes for every 13 miles. So that's how fast Miss McFadden and I run. But we can do some more exciting things with this, like figure out which of us is going to finish first. So I'm going to do actually 3 and 4 at the same time, because my favorite way of comparing who's going to finish first is by finding a unit rate. And so I am going to use the first rate of miles per minute. You can use the other rate if you want to, it's not a problem. But I like this one. Actually, I think I'm going to change my mind. I think I'm going to do minutes per mile. It's going to give me some nicer numbers. So if I want to do minutes per mile, and I'm trying to get a unit rate, 50 minutes, wow, that doesn't look like 5. 50 minutes in 5 miles. Unit rate specifically gets the denominator to 1. And that's why I chose not to do this one, because I would have had to divide 5 by 50, and while it's possible, it's just a little inconvenient. So in order to get my denominator to 1, I need to divide by 5, so I need that 5 on top also, and that means that Miss McFadden can run, it takes her about 10 minutes to run 1 mile. Me, on the other hand, if we do the same, oh, nope, I forgot, I didn't want to use that one. I want to use minutes per mile, not miles per minute. So if I have 143 minutes for 13 miles, I'm going to need to divide by 13 over 13, and that will give me 1 mile in the denominator, and 143 divided by 13 is 11. So it takes me about 11 minutes to go 1 mile, and it takes Miss McFadden about 10 minutes. So Miss McFadden is going to finish first in the marathon. Alright, so just a reminder, when the denominator is equal to 1, it is specifically called a unit rate. Okay, so the next topic was finding percents of numbers. You guys were really good at this before, and it seems like maybe you forgot a few of our methods, so I'll remind you of 2 methods. The first one is the 10% method, where you take the number and you move the decimal over once to find 10%. So in this case, 10% is 2.62, and I can multiply by, nope, not 3. I'm trying to get to 40%. I can multiply by 4 over 4 to get me to 40%. And so 2.62 times 4 be 8. 4 get 2, 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. So Joe would plan on going 10.48 miles. The other method that some people like doing is translating 40% of 26.2 into actual, like a multiplication sentence. They recognize that 40% can be written as a fraction, or it can be written as a decimal, whichever you prefer, and that of means multiply. So 40% of 26.2, or 40% of 26.2. And it's up to you whether you prefer multiplying with fractions or multiplying with decimals, but you would need to do that correctly, and you should get that same answer of 10.48. Yeah, so those are 2 different ways of doing that, and I have a few more practices here for you if you would like. You do not have to do these or turn them in, but they're here for you just in case. And you're going to want to pause it because I'm going to want to write some answers on here, and if you don't want to see them yet, I'm warning you right now. So 20% of 30, 10% is 3, so 20% gives us 6. 60% of 60, 10% of 60 is 6, times 6 is 36. 90% of 7, 10% of 7 is 7/10, and 7/10 times 9 gives us 63/10, or 6 3/10. 10% of 50 is 5, and 5 times 12 is 60. And 25% of 80, I like thinking of this one as a quarter instead of 25%. So when I think of 80 divided by 4, I get 20. Okay, so the last topic on this is the ratio tables. And this is the one we've got like a million different ways of filling out the table. But I specifically chose some numbers that didn't multiply together nicely. There's definitely a way to figure it out by multiplying across on this table, but I like doing this by taking the number that you have and using that doesn't look like a 7, and using that to find all your others. So if I'm trying to turn this 3 into a 6, I know to use a multiplicative identity of 2 over 2, and that's going to get me a 14. If I'm starting with 3 over 7 and I'm trying to turn this 7 into a 21, I need to multiply by 3 over 3, and that gets me a 9 over 21. I can do the same thing trying to get the 3 to a 30, and I would choose 10 over 10, which would give me 70. And this last one up here, it works the same way. If I start with 3 and I'm trying to get to 1 instead of multiplying, I'm going to divide, and I'm going to divide by 3 over 3. So that's going to give me a denominator of 7 over 3. And guess what? I'm going to use that in my table. It doesn't say I had to turn it into a decimal, so I'm just going to put 7/3 in the table. So that's how we fill out our ratio tables. I hope that was helpful, and if I see you in office hours, great. If not, I will see you on the test.